We are slaying monsters.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Yes. Do you want to talk about the end of the world?
Yeah, sure.
Katie, do you know the world is ending?
No, I feel like this happens like once every, I don't know, 6 to 14 years. There's some new thing like, oh, we found this ancient text and we did all the weird math and it's going to be now.
Yeah. Apparently it's tomorrow. We're recording this on September 22nd. Tomorrow, September 23rd, is going to be the end of the world. It's done.
Mm-hmm. According to a South African preacher.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you are hearing this, it means that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess so. Because otherwise, this is all futile. The world is over.
I don't know why this time people are going crazy. Like, there's always some like preacher in a park saying the world is going to end in whatever day, and nobody listens. But then this time, everybody's all going all crazy on TikTok about it. So I don't know what the difference is this time, except for TikTok.
Yeah, I think the difference is TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't know, though, because I remember because it was my birthday, my 28th birthday, the world was supposed to end. And I had a huge birthday party. And I was like, hey, everybody, come on out because it's my birthday / the world is ending, theoretically. So I don't know what the time was there either, because I agree with you, EJ. Like, somebody's always saying the world is going to end, and then why do we all decide every, like, I don't know, once every decade to be like, oh no, maybe this time it's for real.
This is a real one, yeah.
Well, that was the Mayan calendar, right? That was 2012, your birthday.
It was 2012.
Right, yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah,
was it the Mayan
I think it was
calendar?
the Mayan
That was
calendar.
the Mayan calendar.
So
That was like the
slightly
big
different.
one.
Yeah, that's a bit different than just some, Christian crackpot being like, yeah, it's going to be the end of the world.
Because numbers.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we're all susceptible to it. It does feel really bad right now.
It certainly does feel
Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking about the vibe, this definitely feels the closest to the apocalypse that we've ever been.
Yeah.
So, maybe we're right.
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't around for objectively worse times. Like, I don't know. The 14th century was pretty bad
Yeah, I suppose so.
in Europe.
Yeah.
Wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't a great time to be alive. You got that whole Black Death thing going on, right? That was the 1400s.
The 100 Years' War. France and Britain were just fighting each other constantly. And then when they would declare peace for a little while, the people who were just military for careers, they would just parade around and kill people and raid villages because they didn't have an official army to fight for. So they were like, well, got to get my money somehow. I'm just going to go rob and kill a few villagers.
This has happened all throughout history. It's fucking wild. I can't get into this because I'm too obsessed with this. But this is why the pirates happened. Because the exact same thing. You had a bunch of wars in the Caribbean, and then there were peace treaties, and then everyone was like, oh, well, we're at peace, but I need to make money, and I was making money through privateering, but now you say I can't privateer, so fuck you, I'm going to steal some shit. And that's how you get pirates.
Yeah. The South African preacher says the world is going to end, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
And it's real this time. So,
okay.
This is our last episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Well, it was nice knowing you.
Nice knowing you, too. Yep. It's been interesting.
You want to bring us in?
Yeah, bring us in. So, for our last episode, I will announce that we are slaying monsters. We got Katie.
Hi.
And we got Maddie J.
Yo.
And I'm EJ. And this is the Fortean Roundup, everybody.
This is the Fortean Roundup for September. We're going to talk about all of the weird news that happened this month. Our top story here, the one that I think everybody's been talking about, at least on my news feeds, is the military is shooting missiles at UFOs, and the missiles are not working. That's what's going down. So Sorta, kinda. This all came to light during the Restoring Public Trust Through UAP Transparency and Whistleblower Protection hearing on September 9th. That hearing was once again run by our old friend Anna Paulina Luna, the chair of the Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets. On the stand this time was George Knapp, the host of the Weaponized podcast and longtime UFO researcher. George Knapp was a former television journalist, and he got very deeply involved in UFOs after connecting with Bob Lazar in about the late 80s. Lazar claimed that he worked at Area 51 and was reverse engineering flying saucers. We know all about this guy. Since then, most of his statements have been entirely discredited, like his educational background, his credentials, his position, and his knowledge of physics and chemistry. But still, that got Knapp his start, and Knapp has kind of become this authority on UFOs and especially on disclosure these days. So he followed this UFO thread. He started working for the National Institute of Discovery Science, or NIDS, with Robert Bigelow, and eventually got involved with Skinwalker Ranch. There's actually read that he was the guy who connected Harry Reid with Robert Bigelow, which got the disclosure ball rolling in the 2000s. And means he's also the reason that the US government started putting millions of dollars aside for research into UFOs, UAPs, and Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, Knapp is on the stand, and during this hearing, his most revelatory piece of evidence was a video, allegedly from 2024, which showed a Hellfire missile being launched at an unidentified target. It was supposed to impact the target, but during the flight, it allegedly survived the missile, and it just continues flying. Some reporting even say that the object performed evasive maneuvers or dropped anti-impact countermeasures like flares or something like that. You guys all got a chance to see this video, right?
I did. I want to look at it one more time, though.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw it. I saw it on CNN.
Okay. Yeah. We have discussed this before. But since people like Knapp refuse to listen to me, I'm going to say it again. This video is an example of parallax. Parallax happens when the viewer or a camera is filming a stationary target at a distance and you are moving position. So imagine if you are filming out of a moving car and you pass a telephone pole and there's a house behind the telephone pole. As you pass by, you focus on the pole and you follow it with your camera so it moves from left to right in front of the house, right? That doesn't mean the pole itself is moving. It's stationary, but because you're moving and you're filming two objects at different distances, the pole and the house, they appear to move relative to each other, even though neither the pole nor the house is actually moving. You're the one that's moving, right? That's parallax. That's what we're seeing in this video. The object is filmed with a remote camera on a plane. The plane is traveling extremely fast, obviously. The object is traveling slowly, like at the speed of wind, probably. But thanks to parallax, that object appears to be moving at the same speed as the plane.
Okay. So what explains the Hellfire missile, like, bouncing off of it?
And what were they even doing? What was the object? Do we even know what the object was? Was it just a seagull? Like, what the hell was it?
Yeah. They also, like, I was reading the article you sent, Matt, and it sounds like this happened over Yemen at a time when we were shooting things down. There was a little bit of, like, combat action happening there. So it could be a bunch of things, a drone, a bunch of other things. I'm curious what you think the, like, bounce off was. I was at work. We had the news on and the hearing was on. So they showed the video, and literally we were standing there about to get lunch, and the security guy that works in our building looks at it, and I was like, yay, another UAP hearing, like, love these things. and he just looks at it and he goes, I worked in the military for a long time. We definitely have shit that can withstand those. Or we probably do. And like, that was all he said. And that we had a conversation about how like people don't know things, conversation like that we have on this podcast all the time, like about how even within the military, different people don't know everything. So I want to talk more about that because I loved how quickly and easily and casually he was just like, yeah, well, we have shit that can withstand those missiles. And I was like, okay. But like, why do you think it bounced though? Like, why do you think it looked like it bounced?
Well, that's a good question. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about parallax to refer to that. So this is IR footage. It's infrared footage. And that exacerbates the parallax that you're seeing because the object in question is just kind of a white blob, right? These are not high definition visible light cameras. And so it can be really hard to judge the distances on them because we can't make out details when an object is getting closer or farther away, growing, shrinking. We're just seeing indistinguishable blob on continuous background, in this case, the ocean behind it, right? So it's really hard to tell how big the target is and how far away from the camera it is. Or if it's moving closer to the camera or, say, falling away from the camera, like it would if it got shot out of the air by a missile. It's especially important when we talk about the behavior of the craft and the missile because there's a lot of misreporting around this, I think. The missile definitely impacts the craft, and that looks like it kind of bounces or jinks or whatever, and then either deploys some small objects or breaks apart. But remember, we're seeing something that appears on exactly the same visual plane, but probably isn't. So when you start to think of it and take parallax into account, it, to me, looks like the object is struck by the missile, then starts to fall downward. And then thanks to parallax and thanks to the fact that we're seeing it as an IR blob, that downward drift looks lateral because the camera and the object are still moving without any visual reference. So I don't think it continues flying. I think that it got hit and parts of it broke off and it is falling to the ocean. It's just that you're seeing it from above and you have no visual reference that it is falling down. And so it looks like it's falling sideways because you are in fact moving sideways. Does that make sense?
I mean, to me, it makes sense because when I looked at the video for the first time, I saw something that nobody else seems to be agreeing is happening.
Okay.
I just saw what you just described. I saw something come in, hit an object, the object broke into a million pieces and fell. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, oh, it just bounced off and it's fine. I did not see the same video everybody else is seeing, I guess, because it looked like it broke and fell.
Oh, I mean, that's the same video. It's just that people interpret that as continuing to fly.
Yeah.
I have to look at it again.
I know what you're talking. That makes total sense to me, Matt. And like, I remember when I saw it, like I could definitely see it being that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it hits the object and the object actually breaks apart and wobbles and falls.
Yeah. That's what I see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's completely what it looks like.
So, like, why are...
Now that I just watched it again, it's like...
Right?
To me, I kind of wonder if it's just a Mylar balloon, you know, like a satellite, not satellite, a surveillance balloon too. It kind of looks like that the way because obviously the warhead doesn't detonate, right? We would see a big boom and there's no big boom. So to me, it looks more like the missile fires through a balloon, keeps going, the balloon kind of shreds and then slowly drifts down to the ocean.
That's a good theory.
That is a good theory. I like that. Because are you thinking that a drone, even a smallish or medium-sized drone, would be too firm, so it would detonate the warhead potentially, instead of the missile just like going right through it.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, who knows?
I don't know. I don't know what it takes to detonate a Hellfire missile.
Does anybody listening know?
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
write in.
Somebody write in.
listeners, yeah, I'm sure.
Tell us.
It violates your security clearance. SlayingMonstersPodcast.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for
Speaking
science.
of, it's for science. I was flying back from vacation, and a bunch of guys were like right behind me in line waiting to get on the plane. And I made my partner shut up because I needed to surreptitiously listen to what they were saying. And they were clearly like military contractors, and they were having a loud discussion about like US capabilities in Ukraine or whatever, and like weapons, and like how to make certain tanks lighter, or how to do something lighter. I don't know. I don't remember because I don't care. But I was like, this doesn't sound like information you should be talking about in an airport. Like, it didn't sound so bad that I was like definitively sure that they shouldn't be talking about it in an airport, but it sounded bad enough that I was like, maybe I'm just dumb and this is like publicly available information, but it sounded slightly not public. And I was just like, okay, sirs. Like, I don't know why you're having this conversation right now, but I don't think that you should be. And Slaying Monsters podcast at gmail.com. Tell us the secrets you shouldn't be sharing.
Yeah. I want to know all our military secrets.
Can be anonymous. You don't gotta tell me your name.
Anyway, yeah, I think when we take into account the visual confusion caused by parallax and the circumstantial evidence, at least, that what we had altercations going on in Yemen, I don't think there's any reason to consider that this is extraterrestrial or anywhere outside of the realm of normal military capabilities. I don't know why these things keep happening. I don't know why George Knapp and people like him and like Lou Elizondo keep getting called into these meetings to present this evidence that is easily either debunked outright, like with Elizondo and his weird pictures that he keeps showing, or like this, that's just, it's not really anything extraordinary, guys.
I suspect it's a distraction. Like, I don't think that George Knapp is in on the distraction. I think he believes everything that comes out of his mouth. But I wonder if some of these people are really happy to have these kinds of hearings, because all they do is slow things down and distract the people about what's really going on.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, I'm of two minds. I think Congress people are people just like us, and some of them are on the more believing side and are curious, like, if our government knows something, and this is an excuse for them to try yet again to see if there's anything there, and nobody's just told them yet. Like, they're like, it exists, but I can't get to it. I have to have another like official reason to ask. That's the like less cynical version of it. And I think the more cynical version is, I'm sort of with you, EJ. It's a distraction, but I also think there are some people right now that are in our government who make no secret of the fact that they don't trust the government, or whether or not they believe it, they clearly are putting out messaging to people, to voters, that the government might be hiding something from you. And I think this is fuel to that fire.
Yeah.
So that's like also my more cynical take. And those two people can also be the same. They could, like, a person who's thinks the government is hiding things from people could also be a person who's curious about UAPs. And then the people who are just curious about UAPs and don't think the government is necessarily hiding things from them, but want the information if we have it because they think it's interesting. You know, those people can all join forces together. And I think it's fun. Like, that's the other very light and silly reason. Like, I don't put it past Congress to do things that are light and silly sometimes. And I think sometimes they're like, ooh, let's have an alien hearing. Haven't had a good one of those in a while.
I mean, yeah, I am down with
I
that.
don't know. That maybe that's so unserious, but I could see it happening. I don't know.
Oh, they're people too. I mean, it's a good point.
Yeah.
It could be. things are dark right now, so maybe a little alien stuff is a nice distraction, a positive distraction.
I think we look at it that way.
Yeah.
I think we should. Yeah. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, let's do that.
They're like, we don't know if this is real, but nobody's going to be mad at us for having a little hearing about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
I also appreciate how aliens do seem to be bipartisan. Like, extraterrestrials are a bipartisan issue, you know? Like, it's a maybe we need more of that common ground.
Yeah.
They're bipartisan interest also.
Yes.
You can be on both sides of the aisle as a voter and be like, ooh, an alien hearing. I'm curious. Tell me more.
Yeah. I do want to add, we talk about parallax so much on this podcast that we might as well just call it the Parallax Podcast. And I am so sick of repeating the same definition that on our merch store, we are launching a new shirt that features the definition of parallax on it. So next time somebody brings up Tic Tac UFOs in casual conversation to you, you can just point to your shirt and say, read my shirt. So check that out.
It's a cool shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope that it works out for you that you happen to be wearing your Parallax t-shirt when someone brings up Tic Tac UFOs in casual conversation.
Well, I think you have to buy 7 of them and wear one every day just in
Yes.
case. You never know.
Yes.
Yes.
Like kind of like Superman, just wear it underneath your other shirt so you can rip your shirt open. How cool would that be, right?
It's like an opposite tinfoil hat. You're
like
actually
it,
protecting
yeah.
yourself from
From the conspiracy.
yeah.
I like it.
This also defeats the purpose of going to our Slaying Monsters merch store, but you could also print up a little business card. Just keep it in your wallet.
Yes.
Just hand it out.
Kentucky Goblins.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I love this story. I loved it so much.
This is
too.
so fucking weird. I don't know what to make of this story. So our next story, this came out of the Oxford American magazine. Allegedly, during 2022, heavy rain and flooding prompted a rash of sightings of goblins or goblin-like creatures. So crazy. So now this all happened during the 2022 Appalachian floods. I guess I should say Appalachian, because down there is Appalachian.
You say it however you decide, Matt. I think both things are technically correct. I love an Appalachia.
Appalachia.
But, you know.
Anyway, it was this flooding event in Kentucky and the Virginias. July and August had very heavy rainfall. Some accounts put it at over 10 inches of rainfall, and this caused 45 deaths, $450 million in property damage, but apparently maybe also some displacement of goblins. The author of this article, Laura Ellie Smith, says she's talked to people who claim the flood displaced goblins from the mountains and the caves of Appalachia. One of these families described 3-foot-tall gray creatures wearing what they said were kilts, hiding by the side of the road. And another report actually came from a paramedic who initially thought that they had come upon a lost toddler. And they describe it as half a foot tall and skinny with pointed ears and long fingers and huge black eyes. Its skin was covered in dirt, decomposing, and looked burnt from the sun. On the upper half of its body, it had a bib-looking shirt made from what they identified as animal hide. That same paramedic saw a different goblin on another occasion too, and that one ran off into the night. Do we want to talk about this?
So what I don't understand is that these people are seeing these things. They're getting right up close to them.
Right.
And a lot of sightings in general, people will say, "Oh, something ran across the road,"
Sure.
or
Yeah. Right.
"I saw something out of the corner of my eye." Mm-hmm. This paramedic is walking straight up to this creature, and also deciding not to help it, which bothers me. I don't like that.
No, the one the paramedic saw, I think, was dead because it says the skin was decomposing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
But the other couple that said that one of them was that one of the goblins was wearing a quilt, they also got right up close to them. EJ,
Yes.
they said that they were on the side of the road and one of the goblins was crying. and the
Yeah.
other one was just sitting there.
And they just left them there,
Help
I
them.
guess.
That's the one. I think that's when I was upset. Help them. Help the goblins.
I mean, this story is wild to me because I do have a non-paranormal thought about what could be going on, which is similar in conclusion to what the author comes to, but I finished the article and decided it's real. I was like, clearly there are goblin people living in the mountains of Appalachia, and like maybe they're not goblins, maybe they're just like humans that have developed over time to look really strange, like, and they live underground or whatever, like and because there were these floods, like it displaced them the same way that it displaced people. So usually they stay out of sight, but that's why everyone was seeing them everywhere during the disaster, because they were forced out of their homes. And I like fully humanized them. I was like, well, no wonder the goblins were crying on the side of the road. They also lost their home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like they're suffering the same way that the humans were because of the floods. Like I fully was like, let's help the poor goblins.
Yes.
What's wrong?
Help them. I love this theory, Katie. I mean, I think that's a, why can't there be people living in caves for generations wanting to stay away from the population? Why not?
There is entrenched goblin mythology in Kentucky. Like we have precedent for this. You know, obviously the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter was the most famous. Well, there was Katie, are you familiar with the Kelly Hopkinsville goblins?
No.
Okay.
But one of the ladies in the story had a goblin story from before the floods. So it wasn't like just a flood thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's been long before. Kelly Hopkinsville was in 1955. There was a rural homestead that one night they were under attack by either one or multiple goblins the whole night. They shot shotguns at them. The goblins were fine. The one guy tried to walk out the door, and a goblin reached down and grabbed him by the head and had like taloned fingers and stuff. We believe now that was probably an owl, a barred owl. Mm-hmm. That was the conclusion.
It's always an owl.
It's always an owl. That was Joe Nickel, in fact, who believed that everything was an owl.
It certainly sounds like an owl.
And also, you know, they said that the goblin had very owl-like eyes and they had pointed ears, which are like the barred owl's ears. But recently, as in like within the last 10 years or so, the TV show Hellfire has been doing goblin research as well. They received an email from somebody called David who claimed that he was under attack by goblins, like the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, and that the goblins were coming out of mine shafts or caves or something like that. Which is just really, really weird. Like this is existing mythology that's kind of been in place there for decades, if not half a century, probably. Mm-hmm. The Newkirks, who did Hellfire, never actually found any goblins, just like blue balloons and synchronicities. But
You have to go in the caves. You have to go deep in the caves. And then you probably still can't find them because they are so comfortable in the caves. They can hide and they can watch you without you knowing they're watching you.
Yeah.
I think they're people.
And like, I also actually would call it not paranormal. Mm-hmm. My not paranormal, they're real theory is that they're people. They're just tiny, a group of tiny people that have developed in the hills over the years. And that's where they live. And they're very like hidden, like almost think of them as like a tribe of people that live like deep in the rainforest that have never had any contact with the outside world or barely have, you know? And like, why not? Like, I think that we forget how wild the mountains and hollers of like Kentucky and Appalachia can be. My dad and I once accidentally drove through there because we went the wrong way. And I mean, sure, this was like 20 years ago now, but still, like, we were in the middle of nowhere. Like, I was like, if we break down, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't, so it was fine. But I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of places to hide. And
there are. And the caves are huge.
So what do we know too? Like this was a stressful time because everything was flooding. People were evacuating, all of this stuff. So they were maybe not the best at judging what they were seeing, you know? Then you have an existing cultural touchstone because people have at least heard of these goblins living in the mountains, living in the caves or the mines or whatever. And then, you see somebody who's a little short, a little dirty, wearing unusual clothes. I could see that. I could see you being like, oh, I misjudged that person who was actually 4 feet tall. I judged them as being 2 feet tall or whatever, you know? And you're like, oh man, that's a goblin to me.
they did talk a little bit in the article about sort of a collective mourning, like the goblins are sort of a symbol for everyone being really sad and distressed about what was happening to their communities. And I mean, I could see that as well. For our listeners who don't know, like I have multiple degrees in history, and one of the things that I studied was collective consciousness and how we sort of can collectively remember things. And this to me sort of feels like it falls in that sort of realm, and also maybe similar to like a Mandela effect kind of thing where people as a group have like a really concrete memory of something that never happened or isn't true, but a lot of people remember it as being true. And so I'm not saying that that's exactly what this is, but to me, like if you were going to say that people were just misjudging or they somehow were hallucinating this, I don't think it's that, but like let's just say for the purposes of this explanation that was going on, like I could see that it falling somewhere in that realm, right? Of just like a group of people who are stressed, they're pulling on their narratives that they already have, the goblin narratives they already have. Everyone's sad, because that's the other thing, is that like all the goblins they're seeing are also sad. Mm-hmm. So they're not aggressive, they're not like trying to harm anyone. The goblins are reflecting the state of like the humans, right? Which is that they're distressed.
What do you think about the idea that these goblins are a useful, safe sort of space to talk about strip mining and some of the environmental impacts that might have caused these floods, and allows the people to maybe talk in a way that is counter to the way that they vote or the way that they express themselves day to day, because they're using goblins instead of like themselves and their neighbors?
That's intricate. I don't know. I don't think it's impossible, but it could be a subconscious thing. I don't think they would, if you were to do that, I don't think you would be as self-aware to do it by choice. So I think it could be a subconscious choice that they're making.
It gives you something to empathize with, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with EJ. I don't think people would do it consciously. I mean, perhaps they would. It sounds more like a subconscious thing, but I could see it. Like to me, it feels similar, like a slightly different version of what I just said. Like people are mourning the loss of their environment, and the goblins become like a representation of the natural world around them. I could see it. I don't remember if they talk about this extensively in the article, but I feel like I didn't hear the author say that in the interviews with people who saw the goblins, that they were like specifically talking about the environmental harms in their stories about the goblins. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like they were relating the two. So to me, and maybe the author has more evidence that just didn't fit in the article, but like to me, I'm like, okay, that seems like a leap that the author is making, like a theory that the author has, but I didn't see it represented in the words that the people were speaking when they were telling their stories about the goblins. I would want more of like someone being like, they're being forced from their homes because of the strip mines. I mean, that's a little literal, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's a good
Sure.
point. Yeah. I know it's one of those stories that makes you be like, I don't know, because like I don't think goblins are real, but do I think that there could be people living in the caves that get washed out and don't know what to do? Yeah, sure. I think that could be.
Yeah.
That could be.
Also, the person that wrote this article, what a good writer.
Yeah.
Oh
that was
yeah,
such
I
a
was
good
like-
she's
article.
great.
There were a couple of times where I like kind of paused and was like, wait, is this real? Is this a fiction thing, or is this like real reporting? Because of how beautifully it was written, it to me it read like I was reading a novel. Like at certain points I had to think, like, is this supposed to be a horror story that's written like a journalist's article or not? So
Yeah.
really good job.
Yeah, really good writing.
Yeah.
It's highly recommend the article to, come up with your own thoughts on it. For sure. I don't know.
That's where we land on it.
Yeah.
Any listeners in Kentucky, have you seen Goblins? Ooh. Yeah. Send us your Goblin reports. SlayingMonstersPodcast@gmail.com. Okay. So you want to talk about chupacabras?
Sure.
Nice.
Yes. Chupacabra, yes.
Dude, I'm so excited about this because chupacabra is one of my favorite cryptids, actually, and we hardly ever get to talk about them. So, yeah.
Really? One of your favorites?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why he likes them so much, but there you go.
I'm like another fucking boring story about weird wildlife killings when I think we're all pretty sure that wild animals can kill other animals pretty cleanly.
Hey, now.
Yeah.
I think science has proven that.
Hey, let me
Yep.
talk about chupacabras.
Yep.
let me enjoy this moment.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry to rain on your parade.
Okay, so this is all according to Avniologica, which is a website that is absolutely not a reliable source. It has a little alien guy at the top of the page, like not a reliable source at all. But chupacabra attacks are on the rise in Argentina. The article doesn't even list an author, but it cites an Exclusiva article, and allegedly Eduardo Toran Maidana, who runs a ranch, has lost 13 cows to unknown predator attacks. He first thought that they were dog attacks, but his neighbor's dog was tied up and the attacks still continued when his neighbor's dog was tied up. So that ruled out the dog attack for him.
Okay. There aren't other dogs in Argentina?
No other dogs on his ranch.
Okay.
The attacks seemed like they were targeting the noses of the cows, and dead animals had their hearts and their internal organs removed and allegedly had their blood drained, which is, of course, a major sign that it's a chupacabra attack. One of the ranch's employees believes that he saw the creature and described it as, quote, bigger than a dog with a totally different head. And that led them to conclude that it was definitely the chupacabra, the goat sucker. You are so skeptical, Katie. I love it.
I'm sorry. No. Keep going. Also, just a note for our readers, if you ever encounter an article and it has no byline, just move on with your life.
Yeah.
It's not a reliable source. That is a real good telltale sign.
Unless it is like 100 years old. Because back in the day, I found that in a lot of the old reporting, they did not have authors. But if you encounter a news item, it's from 2025, and they don't have an author cited, not reliable. Not reliable at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, keep going, Matt. So the animals, they're dead. They don't have organs or blood.
Chupacabras are a very unique cryptid because there's really two distinct versions of the chupacabra legend. The original chupacabra was an alien hybrid that was sighted in Puerto Rico with green spots or scales, spikes on its back, and these oblong glowing red eyes. It also had vampire fangs, which it used to drain its victims of all of their blood. Now, that report came from Madeline Tolentino in 1995. although her authenticity is questionable. During an interview in the early 2000s, Ben Radford found that Tolentino had seen the movie Species and believed that the creature in Species, Natasha Henstridge's Sill, was real and had escaped from a government research facility and was roaming the Puerto Rico countryside. So that was the original Chupacabra. Now, in recent years, that Chupacabra mythology has largely fallen out of favor with cryptozoologists for very obvious reasons. And so these days, the Chupacabra is often described as a wrinkly, hairless dog, often with a very pronounced spinal ridge that kind of calls back to that Species spiked back. They still have fang-like teeth, but that's more from a receded gum line, which makes their canines resemble vampire fangs.
Sounds like a dog with mange.
Well, so that Chupacabra, probably most famous from a Phyllis Canyon of Cuervo, Texas. She found a dead Chupacabra on the side of the road. She had it taxidermized and now keeps it in her living room, which is, to me, so fucking awesome. But there was extensive DNA testing done on that specimen, and it was determined to be a coyote with mange.
Okay.
Yeah, mange is a parasite that it burrows into your skin. It causes hair loss. It causes weakness. And what happens is those weakened animals then target easy prey, like herds of vulnerable goats or cattle or something like that.
Speaking of parasites.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get
Okay.
there in a second.
Okay.
But first, let's talk about the draining of the blood, because this is a hallmark, and it's something that's really fascinating to me. So Ben Radford, in his Tracking the Chupacabra, found that coyote kills often leave their victims uneaten, and they leave puncture marks on the neck from the coyotes because they go for the throat, right, during the altercation. The wounded animals are then left to die. They bleed out. They become victims to scavengers. But the thing is that once your heart stops beating, blood isn't flowing through your system, right? And so it pulls on the underside of the animal because of gravity. And so it gives the impression that the animal has been drained of blood. What's interesting is that when we talk about cattle mutilations that were the result of, say, aliens, right? They are often drained of blood too. And so again, we have this sort of collective consciousness thing where if you find a cattle that looks like it has no blood in it, and you are in the American Midwest, that's a UFO cattle mutilation. If you find it in Texas or in Mexico or in Puerto Rico, that's a Chupacabra attack. Even though it's exactly the same thing, it just depends on what your local mythology, your local belief system is.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I was even annoyed because at the end of the article, they were like, maybe it's an alien. And I was like, you can't even just get through it, just having it just be the Chupacabra.
Yeah.
Like, you have to throw in aliens at the end.
And so on top of all of this, there might be another parasite at work here too, because I found that reports of screwworm outbreaks have surfaced in Central and South America. Screwworms target the soft, fleshy parts of livestock, like their noses, and they lay eggs inside the host. Then once the eggs hatch, the larvae feast on the flesh of the animal, and this can result in a very painful and gruesome death.
Katie's making so many faces right now.
So gross.
Yeah,
it's so gross.
It's really gross.
And I read this article and I was just like, this is why science and public health matter, people. Because otherwise you have weird, gross outbreaks of worms, flesh-eating worms.
But screwworms specifically target the nose of the livestock. That's how one of the ways that they get in, and then they eat away the nose, which is exactly what they are seeing in Argentina right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's wise for us to organize a Chupacabra hunt just yet.
No.
Yeah. Especially
Sorry.
not in this economy with the health care as it is right now with RFK Jr. I just don't know if this is a good time to be pushing our luck with parasites.
Well, let's try and protect the poor little cows too, because
Yes.
they didn't do anything to deserve this.
Poor things.
No, they
Yeah.
didn't.
So anyway,
That's all we have to say about that.
yeah, I mean, I think it's probably coyote attacks. Like, if I had to guess, it's probably coyotes or wild dogs or something like that. Because I'm not sure tying up your neighbor's dog prevents all dogs from getting to your cattle.
No.
That is true.
A combination of wild dogs and screwworms.
So sad news for us. Jeff Meldrum has passed away after a battle with brain cancer. He was 67. Jeff Meldrum was an anthropologist, a primatologist, and a cryptozoologist with a focus on locomotion and a penchant for Sasquatch research. He was a kind of a tyrant in the Sasquatch community, especially in the last 20 or 30 years. He was a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University, and he taught classes on foot morphology and locomotion. He published several papers on bipedal locomotion in humans and apes, and that research led him to the study of Sasquatch and the Patterson-Gimlin video of, Patty the Bigfoot walking across the field.
What did he think of that video?
He believed it was legitimate.
Wow.
Yeah. He studied the way that it moved and the tracks, and he had this whole connection. And it was really interesting because he was actually a big proponent of opposable toes on Sasquatches. And he claimed to have found evidence of opposable toes on several of the footprints, including the Eric Shipton Yeti print.
That's not something I hear about a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he thought it was like a type of wild ape that was still living in North America?
He thought that it was a descendant of Paranthropus,
Okay, that's like an ancient
ancient human ancestor. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, listen, I'm more willing to listen to someone who's like, based on evidence, there's this, instead of just being like, there's a giant thing living in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, he studied the tracks. He studied what little, video evidence we have of it, and he tried. What's cool about him is that rather than just looking at photos or something like that, he actually said, okay, if you had something, how much would they weigh? How would they move? Do these tracks make sense? Like are they displacing enough earth in the track as they move, assuming that they would have, how much would they weigh? A couple 100 pounds or whatever, like all of that stuff, because he was an expert on locomotion. He published a book in 2006 where legend meets science, and he analyzed a whole bunch of the prints and the casts in that. He was also on the board of directors for the International Museum of Cryptozoology in Portland, Maine, with Lauren Coleman, which is a fantastic museum, and all of our listeners should check that out if you ever get the opportunity to go. It's a great little museum up there.
Yeah, it's super cute and fun.
Yeah.
It's actually less cute now because they actually expanded it.
Yeah, it used to be like inside
yeah.
somebody's house.
Well, I mean, it was in
it
was in like a row home sort of situation in Portland. I don't know if they call them row homes in Portland, but it was really a cozy little museum. It was really great. And then they moved to like an actual museum facility out in.
They're just
didn't
outside.
they move to Bangor?
Oh, I think they're actually in Bangor now.
Well, okay. Yeah. We visited them when they were in their tiny place in Portland, and then in the bigger place in Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also do need to say that Jeff Meldrum was an active member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and that probably colored at least some of his scientific contributions in a bad way, because his book, Who Are the Children of Lehi? DNA and the Book of Mormon, attempted to explain that Indigenous Americans were actually descendants of the 10 tribes of Israel, because that fits with the whole Mormon idea.
Yeah, that's what they
that.
believe, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Sorry, Jeff. You just lost your scientific credibility.
Yeah.
Not that you had much, because you were trying to prove that Bigfoot was real, but I was a little bit on your side, and now I'm not anymore.
It's funny, right? It's funny the blinders
sorry
that people
you died.
put on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he brought some legitimate science to the cryptozoological debate, even if he was a little bit gullible from time to time. I still think it's good, even when we're getting there from the wrong reasons. I still think it's good to try to inject real science into this and say, okay, if it was a Sasquatch, how would it actually move? And what can this tell us about the evidence? Does this prove or disprove the evidence?
Yeah.
So he will
That's
be missed.
worthwhile.
Life on Mars? This is another one of these semi-annual stories, actually, I feel like we always get Life on Mars stories at least once a year. Or Life on...
But now it's announced by Sean Duffy, former Road Rules contestant and current administrator of NASA.
Wait, I didn't know this. Road Rules? Really?
Yes. Sean Duffy, the current administrator of NASA, got famous because he was on the Real World Road Rules. And then he became a TV presenter. And now he's the head of NASA, based on no experience, except that he likes to talk on television. And I guess is mildly interested in science.
Wow.
And that's the American dream.
Isn't it?
Anybody can be anything they
Isn't
want
it?
with absolutely no credibility whatsoever.
Greatest country on earth.
Greatest country.
Oh my God, EJ.
So anyway,
Moving on.
Yeah, the Perseverance rover drilled into an ancient river channel on Mars in 2024, and they took a sample from that river channel, and the sample shows carbon, phosphate, iron, and sulfur. And in particular, this iron sulfide is often found in sediment from water-based environments rather than like lava-based ones or something like that. And so if I'm understanding all of this correctly, that means that this dry riverbed that they found shows indications that it once had water, and that water shows the biomarkers of life. Dr. Michael Teese, a geobiologist, astrobiologist, and co-author on the paper, said, "On Earth, things like these sometimes form in sediments where microbes are eating organic matter and breathing rust and sulfate. Their presence on Mars raises the question, could similar processes have occurred there?" It's not life exactly that we found, but it is another one of these biomarkers, these signatures of life.
The article was like a smidge confusing, but like I wanted to clarify that that's what I was supposed to take away from it. Not that we think that there is currently life on Mars, but that we found sediment that indicates that in the past, when there was water on Mars, there might have also been some sort of like bio-life, chemical process, not just chemical processes, but like biological processes happening.
If I'm reading it correctly, yes, I think that's the conclusion. Yes, not that it's
Okay.
current, but that it was.
Also, as an aside, I knew I was leaving something out. Sean Duffy is the Secretary of Transportation, and he's only the acting administrator of NASA as a secondary job to being the Secretary of Transportation. Okay, we can all move on.
Well, I mean, at least that I understand a little bit more because he was in Road Rules. Oh. And so he has a background to understand transportation.
Oh, Katie, that's a resume.
I know.
Yeah.
That's his
He
resume.
does, you're right. I stand corrected,
Yep.
though still not for NASA, unfortunately.
No.
NASA has rockets. That's
true.
transportation.
That is transportation.
Yep.
Stupid me.
Yeah.
Silly me.
Hey, you know what?
I just didn't think through it properly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, anybody who ever owned a Barbie car and who ever learned how to drive could one day become the acting director of NASA as well. So,
But back to Mars, I wanted to say that I really loved this because recently I had the opportunity, I might have said this already on the podcast, so apologies if I did, but I recently went to the Goddard Space Flight Center to get a tour and look at a giant telescope that they're putting up, the Roman. Mm-hmm. It's like the next iteration.
So cool.
When I got there, randomly by happenstance, the chief science officer of the Goddard Space Flight Center was there waiting for a different group. And he asked me if I'd like to hold the largest chunk of Mars that we have on Earth. It's called Black Beauty, and I did, and it was great.
Oh my
And he was
God.
telling me all about Mars and the water on Mars, and he was pointing to the little flecks in the rock.
Oh, wow.
And saying, like, see, these are minerals from water.
Wow.
So
Oh.
it was really cool. I held Black Beauty, and I really love this article because it just reminded me of that wonderful experience, which I cannot explain to you how excited I was. And also that, like, we are finding all of this cool stuff, and that, like, Mars did used to have a lot of water on it and all these things. So, like, I know that this article was really cautious and was saying, like, we haven't found life, we just found potential biomarkers of life. And they were being really cautious, as scientists should be. But I think it's really exciting. I always think it's cool when we discover new things about space and planets in our solar system.
I do too. And it's just evidence gathering. It's just more and more reasons why there was probably life on Mars at some point, which is just very exciting.
I also think that this is, it's cool to have these stories because it shows how science actually works, as opposed to, when we have Dak, the Bigfoot, or something like that, where you have a guy who just throws a Bigfoot carcass on display at the New York State Fair or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how science works. That's you can't just have some dead cows and be like, oh, chupacabra attack. Like, you do research, and it takes time, and it gets peer reviewed. That's one of the big things about this article, is that this article and the data was actually peer reviewed before they published.
Yeah.
Like, this is the process that you're actually supposed to follow, and it's good to see that as an antithesis to some of the more fantastical news items that we tend to have.
Yeah.
I think that that's an important thing too.
And I thought this, like, layperson article describing the research did a really good job trying to explain as simply as possible what were the scientists looking at, and, like, why do they think that it could be a biomarker, because it was complicated.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I thought it did a good job of trying to express the points that will help someone like us understand, like, the important discovery.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very fine line sometimes.
Yeah,
For sure.
Did you hold the rock with your bare hands, Katie?
I did.
Oh my God. Was it heavy or light?
No, it wasn't heavy. I mean, it was heavy in that it felt like it felt the right weight for the size of rock it was. Listeners, you can't see, I'm holding up my hands, but it was like about the size of a tennis ball. But it was
Okay.
kind of like jagged, edgy, kind of like obsidian. If you've ever seen like
yeah.
a rock of
Yeah.
obsidian, it has those like pointy triangular edges. It's not like a circle. It's not like a
okay.
river rock. It wasn't like that. It was more like shardy, but it wasn't sharp.
Oh.
And then, it was about the size of a tennis ball. It was black, and it was kind of shiny, and it had lots of little like gray sort of specks in it if you looked at it closely.
Oh, that's so cool,
So
Katie.
cool.
Yeah.
I would have wanted to lick it because then I could become an alien on the inside.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up so I can tell our listeners. Okay, so it's actually called, if you want to look it up on Wikipedia, it's actually called Northwest Africa 7034. That's its like scientific name. It's nicknamed Black Beauty. It's a Martian meteorite. That's how it got here. It's 4.43 billion years old, and it contains the most water of any Martian meteorite found on Earth.
Wow.
Oh, that is incredible.
Although it is from Mars, it does not fit into any of the 3 meteorite categories and forms a new Martian meteorite group named Martian basaltic breccia.
Wow, it's so beautiful.
It looks like it has scales almost.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
I know.
That's
I was
like a
so
life highlight.
excited. It really was. And it was so cute because the chief science officer, he was like an older gentleman, and he was like, He was a little bit awkward, as like a really high quality scientist probably is. And he was like, would you like to hold a chunk of Mars? It's the biggest piece we have. And I was like, yeah, I would. Like just like that. And then he got really excited. He was like, oh, and he was like, let me tell you about it. And he was telling me all about it.
That's so cool.
It was so fun.
Oh, man.
Shout out to him. James B. Garvin. I think that's who it is. He was really great.
So cool.
Dr. Garvin,
so
I
cool.
really, really appreciated my 5 minutes of time that we spent together.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really write down anything for this, but
I read a little bit.
Yeah, Katie, do you have a Labubu?
Do I have a Labubu? Who do you think that I am? No, I do not have a Labubu. I don't want one. I think it's crazy. For our listeners, this story, we did not do a lot of research.
This is breaking.
This is
breaking news story.
Last minute edition from the news desk of the ever reliable Lewis Black, back in black from The Daily Show.
Yeah.
He had a little rant about Labubus, and at the end, he talked about how apparently people are saying that Labubus are actually an incarnation of Pazuzu, the old Mesopotamia like demon deity, and that people, I don't know where they're saying it, but that
TikTok,
TikTok apparently, yeah, and but people are saying it so that people aren't taking any chances, and they're having their Labubus baptized and like having little ceremonies to rid them of the demon. Now, I did a little research on Pazuzu because my only interaction with Pazuzu has been on Ghost Adventures. And while I love the Ghost Adventures guys, everything on that show is the most evil thing that's ever existed, whether or not that's actually true. So I do have to say that the Labubus do have the same face as the Pazuzu. So I get why people have made this comparison. But the Pazuzu actually is not that bad. From Wikipedia, the Pazuzu has a well-documented use in white magic. He was used to frighten away unwanted guests or to prevent wind demons from entering the home and wreaking havoc. He was also said to protect against his arch rival Lamashtu, and apparently Lamashtu would cause harm to pregnant women. So Pazuzu also was used sometimes as a protector of pregnant women, and so pregnant women would wear like a little charm or a little carving of Pazuzu to ward off Lamashtu. This was all in the first millennium BC. So,
oh, that's so cool.
All I'm saying is, from my 5 minutes perusing Wikipedia and this Lewis Black article, I've decided that Pazuzu has been resurrected as Labubu, and that people are just doing what they did in the first millennia, which is using their Labubus as protective charms to guard against whatever.
Yes.
That's what I've decided.
Yeah.
5G rays, probably. Whatever else, whatever you want to say, you know?
So you don't even need to baptize your Labubus because they're protecting you.
The power, you don't want to take their power away. Mm-hmm. It's useful. This is great. I love this, Katie. Thank you for hitting us with some hard truth here about the Labubus. And honestly, it's funny because we watched this and then we saw the South Park episode where they did a Labubu episode on South Park. It was about demons.
Yeah. It was about this exactly.
It was about like the girls were like doing these TikToks with like demon conjuring where they're Labubus.
Well, because they do the unboxing thing, and then they would conjure demons with the Labubus during their unboxing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like so watching that Lewis Black thing, I was like, oh my God, like that's what South Park said. So this is like totally legit. So
well, yeah, if South Park and Lewis Black said it, it has to be true.
It's true. Yes.
I do think that's an interesting connection, though, to call the charms of Pazuzu, and we are wearing the Labubus as fashion accessories, as these sort of charms. Isn't it interesting how humanity never really changes?
We don't change
right?
at all.
Like, man.
We think we're so elevated and so different from the people from a millennia ago, but
Nope.
I'm sure. Like, do you think that you were buying your Pazuzu charms in mystery boxes?
No.
And you open them to see which special Pazuzu charm you got? Do you think so? And then people would freak out when they got the super rare Pazuzu charms?
I just don't think so.
No.
But that would have been a real hit, probably, if they'd thought of that. That would have been really popular.
There were amulets bearing his image. They were positioned in dwellings to protect infants and pregnant women from Lamashtu again. I don't know who this demon was, but apparently bad. I'm looking like, yeah, women would be given bronze necklaces. This seems to be the most common one. But then also apparently they would occasionally be attached to cylinder seals or worn as brooches as well.
Don't need to exercise Pazuzu. Pazuzu's here to help you.
Yeah. Take it from us.
Labubu's
Man,
here to help you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder how much it costs to exercise a Labubu.
See, this is the thing. It's all accessory add-ons. Like the exorcism's the accessory add-on. You can buy their hats. You can buy all these different things for them. The money just... You never stop spending money on Labubus. It's all a racket.
Oh, they're not that expensive.
The Labubus or the exorcisms?
The Labubus. I mean, you can buy obviously on the secondhand market, people are doing insane things like Beanie Babies.
Yeah, sure.
But apparently a single box, a Labubu only costs $27.99 if you just are buying it off the market. Or
But you don't get to pick which one you get. You just get a blank box, and there could be anything inside.
Yes. But if you get 6, it's $167.94. This is from USA Today. But my point is that I thought that Labubus were more expensive, and they're not that expensive. But
No.
people buy tons of them because it's like Pokemon cards. You don't know what you're going to get. That's enough about Labubus. I hit my Labubu wall, and I'm like, I can't talk about this anymore.
Okay, let's we'll get this wrapped up. We'll wrap it up just by saying the Conjuring house is up for auction.
Yes.
This is a Rhode Island homestead that was the subject of the original Conjuring movie and the case that got Ed and Lorraine Warren their start.
Yes, and it is a gorgeous house. I absolutely love it. It's decorated just the way I like my house to be decorated. Like, I want to feel like I'm walking into like 1770. It's like so cool.
That's so funny that you said that, EJ, because I also think it's beautiful. I wouldn't like seriously touch it, but like I did think like, are you not allowed to update it? Like you literally have to have like the table and stuff. I'm like, put in a TV or like a rug, you know?
That's true. There's no like modern amenities at all.
No, it's like they left it as like a historical, like creepy house. It's not even like nicely historical. Like it looks creepy. And that made me think they're doing it on purpose. Because if you look past that, it's beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
I think they are doing it on purpose. They had pictures of the basement because if you see the movie or you know the story, allegedly, like they did a whole exorcism in the basement. The Warrens did this exorcism in the basement, and the chair rose up in the air and like flipped around or whatever. Although if you read the actual accounting of it, it just slid backward and then fell over. But, you know, this is also, Katie, I don't know if you know this story, but so the parents moved into the house. And weird shit started happening. And so they called the Warrens to come and check out what was going on. They believed that the mother, Caroline Perrin, was being targeted for possession. And so Ed Warren was like, we have to do an emergency exorcism because they found out that the land, there was this woman named Bathsheba Sherman who was this alleged dead witch that was on the land, whatever. And so they're doing this exorcism on Caroline. her chair scoots back. She falls over. Her husband runs over to help her, and Ed's trying to like hold him back. Like, no, it's in the midst of this exorcism. The husband, Roger Perrin, punches Ed Warren in the face and knocks him over. He falls down, and then kicks the Warrens out of his house.
Oh my God.
One of the greatest moments in paranormal history.
Well, good for him, because
Yeah.
the Warrens were apparently, clearly not good people.
Oh, no. They were terrible people. Anyway.
Also, there's the Annabelle doll in one of the pictures of the Conjuring house.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, why? And also the
gotta do
bathroom.
it.
Like, listen, I love wood as much as the next person, but this bathroom, like, really?
wood in the bathroom is like, I'm not a fan of like wood in the bathroom, like tons of wood in that bathroom.
You're asking for a problem.
Like,
Yeah, that's
you
a lot
need
of
to
fun.
just, like, please, just put up a different lamp. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it just looks weird and creepy. It looks like a mix between, like, someone was trying to keep it looking like a museum and college students live there, because it's like old furniture and then like weird futon, those like 70s like futon beanbag chair kind of things.
So I looked into the previous owners of this house. So in 2019, the owners started hosting paranormal investigations there. It costs upwards of $1,500 a night to go and do a paranormal investigation. So I don't think there was anybody even living there. I think those people just bought this property and were making money having investigators come in. And now maybe it didn't work out. Maybe they're trying to get out from under it, whatever. But that's why it doesn't look like it's changed or it's been lived in. They did that specifically. They wanted the house to be creepy for when these people showed up.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a sad 1970s dormitory for like bad youth.
It totally does.
I really want
Yeah.
a nice family to like come and buy it and not treat it that way. Like, I want them to just like, I want them to not give a shit, to be like completely skeptics and just be like, look at this beautiful old house. We're going to buy it. We're going to give it some love. And we're going to
Yeah.
make it a
Put in
nice
some flowers.
Yeah, just make it nice. Make it nice.
Exactly.
Well, listeners, if you want to live in a piece of history, a piece of paranormal history, the auction is on Halloween. Everything about this is on brand. It's on Halloween.
It's so great.
We'll have to
Go.
follow up in the November Fortean to see who buys it.
The last sale price was $1 million. So bring
Holy
your
moly.
checkbook.
It looks like it's on kind of a lot of land, though. So, like, even if you aren't factoring in its famousness, it's probably worth a little bit of money just for the land.
8.5 acres.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's it. I have a quote. Jeff Meldrum.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted me to say it, right?
Yeah, give us our quote.
Okay. Here's our quote. We can discuss what it is after we've proved that it exists. It's silly to do it beforehand. That is Dr. Jeff Meldrum from an interview in March 2021 interview from Bigfoot Society.
You know what, Dr. Jeff? You brought me back over to your side at the end. Because that's a very rational thing to say.
Isn't it? Yeah. He was a good guy. He was all right. Well, yeah, this is going to come to everybody at the end of September. And then we are going to launch into spooky season. We're going to have a very, very cool new series coming out just next week. So check that out. It's going to be really awesome. And yeah, if you want to, we're feeling a little bit generous, you can always head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com, click on the support us button at the top of the page and leave a donation in our tip jar, or consider becoming a member. And you can also check out our merch store there. Like I said, we have awesome new t-shirts in case you have to find yourself explaining parallax to a lot of people, as I do from time to time. And we'll catch you on the next series. It's going to be a spooky one.
If the world does not end.
Oh yeah, if the
We will
world
see you
does
again.
not end. Otherwise, you won't hear any of this anyway. So,
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you all so much for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Be safe out there. thanks for listening to Slaying Monsters, the Fortean History Podcast. If you like the podcast, there's a couple ways you can show your support. You can tell your friends, you can leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform, or you can head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com and click on the Support Us button to leave a donation. For questions, suggestions, and other feedback, reach out to us, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com, and stay up to date by following us on socials at Slaying Monsters Podcast. Your support helps us grow, and we are truly grateful to have our listeners and community.